AEW signee on his WWE regrets, Roman Reigns' Netflix plans leaked, a WrestleMania 39 rumor killer, and more. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
It's been just a few months since Bobby Lashley finished up with WWE. His contract expired in August and he opted not to re-sign with the company, and was not alone, as MVP's deal was also up around the same sort of time, and they have joined Shelton Benjamin, who was released last year, to form the Hurt Syndicate in All Elite Wrestling. Since he left WWE, MVP has had some fairly harsh words to say about his former employer, even claiming that Triple H had zero interest in reuniting the Hurt business in WWE, and that a lot of the ideas that MVP pitched were just given to the bloodline instead. Similarly, Shelton Benjamin has said that he felt held down in WWE and not given a chance to shine. Bobby Lashley, who makes his pay-per-view debut at AEW's Full Gear tomorrow, has been less outspoken as his Hurt Syndicate buddies. And in a new interview with Lame Guy's podcast, he even revealed that he had actually hoped to stay in WWE and retire there in the next couple of years. He said, "Over at AEW, my career and where it is now, it's really good for me. Could I or would I have hoped to stay in WWE? Absolutely. My plan was to have one more, maybe 2 years, and then retire with WWE." He talked about the plans he wanted to do on his way out the door, which would have involved turning the Street Profits babyface and splitting up their group so he could then put over Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford in singles matches. He added, "I ultimately wanted to get beat. There are 3 or 4 people that I wanted to go out against. I wanted every one of them to have a good feud with me, and I wanted to put all of them over." The other guys he wanted to feud with and put over were current United States champion LA Knight, as the two have a friendship that goes back to their time in Impact Wrestling, and former United States champion Austin Theory, who he also wanted to turn babyface. Stop trying to make Austin Theory happen. Much like Theory, Lashley was a victim of the Triple H era of WWE. After getting a monster push under Vince McMahon, Lashley was barely used by Trips, most notably not having a match at WrestleMania 39, instead just coming out and posing with his Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy, and hands up those who remember the Andre trophy, because did they even do one this year? I actually had to Google this, and it turns out that they did, and it was won by Bronson Reed. That is a Survival Series round I would do quite poorly in. Speaking of WrestleMania 39, and it was thought to be the first Mania under the Triple H banner. However, old Vince McMahon, who a few months earlier had retired from pro wrestling, made a return to WWE in order to sell it. Despite saying in interviews that he wasn't going to get in the weeds of creative in WWE, he clearly was. The Raw after Mania 39 was a reported disaster, with constant changes reminiscent of the old regime, and Fightful Select even stopped reporting the rundowns for Raw ahead of shows because they were always being changed on the fly. But one of the biggest rumors surrounding Vince's involvement in WrestleMania 39 was the finish in the main event between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. But it turns out that might not be the case. But before we get into all of that, here's a word from today's sponsor.
Another email sent. Time for a break.
Is this you? Have you had an accident recently after sending an email that wasn't your fault? The accident, that is, not the email. Has your accident affected you personally? Has some uneven floorboards made you trip and feel you deserve some compensation? Well, maybe it's time you get yourself some personal injury legal advice from injury lawyers Morgan & Morgan. You see, Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm, with over 1,000 attorneys operating in all 50 states. They're more than just a traditional law firm. They're a national consumer-facing brand with a promise of being for the people. When you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions, like little baby boy Luke here, who, after this fall, wasn't able to turn left ever again. Morgan & Morgan don't settle for lowball offers. They achieve significant verdicts in the past couple of months for victims involved in life-altering car crashes. If you've ever been seriously injured, your case could be worth millions, and you're only a few clicks away from potentially changing your life. It's so easy. You can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan using the link in the description below. Don't be a little baby loser boy like Luke.
Ow.
Going into WrestleMania 39, we all assumed that Cody Rhodes was going to win the WWE Championship, end the reign of Roman Reigns, and complete his father's legacy. But that didn't happen. You all remember the Pete face, right? It's hard to understate what a surprise this was. Anecdotally, our live stream reaction numbers shot through the roof after the finish, and the anger in the Ultra Chats was palpable. Of course, it led to Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania 40 the following year in one of the best Mania main events ever, despite The Rock's attempt to make sure that didn't happen. And the long-standing rumor of the Mania 39 match was that Vince McMahon changed the finish to Roman retaining. But according to Sean Ross Sapp, that isn't the case. SRS recently revealed that Vince did change one of the finishes on that show, and in his Q&A section on Fightful Select, someone asked if it was the Cody Roman match, and SRS replied that wasn't a Vince change, though Vince was in favor of Reigns winning. Sean adds that he's not been given clearance to confirm which match had its finish changed. Cody Rhodes has revealed in interviews that he was told ahead of time that he would not be winning at Mania 39, so which match do you think it was? Looking at the card, the only ones that really jump out to me are Rey Mysterio beating his son, but I don't think that's all that surprising, and probably likelier this one, Bianca Belair beating Asuka to retain her women's championship. So which match do you think was changed? Let me know and speculate in the comments down below. Speaking of Roman Reigns, and there's now a report on what he'll be doing early next year as WWE makes its anticipated move to Netflix for seamless and uninterrupted, no issues whatsoever streaming. Oh god, it's weird when that happens. Oh. It really makes my tummy go. The debut episode of Raw on Netflix reportedly is going to be a star-studded affair, booked to be like a pay-per-view. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Roman Reigns are all expected for the show, and it's rumored that Becky Lynch will be making her return on that show too. And according to WrestleVotes Radio, the debut episode won't be the only appearance of Roman Reigns on Raw on Netflix. They report that WWE will feature Roman more on Raw than SmackDown in the early part of 2025 because brand split LOL, but more importantly to help with the move to keep as many eyeballs on the product as much as possible. It was reported that the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson boxing match that was totally legit and totally not a work was watched by upwards of 60 million Netflix subscribers. If WWE can get a fraction of that, it will be the biggest audience they've had for Raw in decades. So the idea of keeping your top stars on that show makes a lot of sense. Netflix themselves released the first trailer for WWE coming to the platform, complete with a cameo from Adam Pacitti. And with that comes confirmations of what will be available on Netflix, as it will spell the end of the WWE Network here in the UK and elsewhere. So what's going to happen to all of that WWE Network content? Because there is a lot of content on the WWE Network. Netflix UK posted to Twitter that as of 2025, UK and Ireland will get weekly episodes of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, all pay-per-views, historic pay-per-views, and select programming from the archive. So not everything is going to be carried over, so fingers crossed they keep Swerved. Coming this weekend here on WrestleTalk, tomorrow I bring back my Who Really Killed series to look at the history of TNA wrestling for nearly an hour, and on Sunday I'll have a review of AEW's Full Gear 2024, and myself and Tempest will review the show in full gear on the WrestleTalk podcast later that day. In fact, today myself and Tempest will be giving our predictions for Full Gear 2024, so subscribe to know when that goes live. And speaking of Full Gear, and it was revealed on this week's AEW Dynamite that Mariah May will finally have her Women's World Championship celebration with Mina Shirakawa on the show, which sparked speculation that we could see the return of timeless Toni Storm, who's not been seen since she lost the title at All In. The problem there, of course, is that Toni Storm announced this week that she's totally for real retired in an announcement that was about as serious as Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Speaking on a media call ahead of Full Gear, Tony Khan said reports of Toni's demise have been greatly exaggerated, and in a Q&A over on Blue Sky, Sean Ross Sapp was asked if he would expect more returns at Full Gear along with Toni Storm, to which he replied yes, effectively confirming that Storm will be returning at Full Gear. I'm also on Blue Sky, so go and follow me over there at This Is Luke Owen. Come, please inflate my ego, I really need it. Come and tell me how nice my mustache is. Annoyingly, we recorded our Full Gear predictions video yesterday before AEW had announced Ricochet versus Konosuke Takeshita for the International Championship, which has now been made official. It's annoying because we spent the first few minutes of that show wondering why that match has not been added, which will now make us look like total idiots. So yeah, thanks Tony. Sean Ross Sapp is also reporting that more matches will be added to Full Full Gear because, well, of course they will, which will include Deonna Purrazzo taking on Anna Jay, as Purrazzo is from the area. He also reports that QT Marshall's match with the Costco guy will take place in the midpoint of the pre-show as a way to attract viewers to buy the pay-per-view. Smart move. Full Gear will also see Private Party defending their AEW Tag Team Championships against the Outrunners, Kings of the Black Throne, and the Acclaimed, and Sean Ross Sapp is reporting via Fightful Select that one of those teams was changed from the original plans, but is unsure on which one it is. My money is on the Kings of the Black Throne. And lastly, for today's news, and it looks like we should all expect the return of Charlotte Flair very soon, as the Queen posted on Twitter a video of a diamond breaking to reveal an image of her. Charlotte Flair hasn't wrestled since last December, where she tore her ACL, MCL, and meniscus and was expected to be out for around 9 months. Would you bring Flair back now or save her for another big return for the Netflix debut? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to have a great weekend, subscribe and watch all of the videos that'll be going out this weekend, and of course, follow me over on Blue Sky. Check out yesterday's WrestleTalk news, where there have been calls for a Stephanie McMahon return.